Welcome to a well-rested, highly questionable. What do we have on the show today, Bomani?
A gentleman who may have had, quite possibly, the worst game in baseball history.
Vamos, papi.
Now that the parade is over, should LeBron take a look at other teams?
I don't think any of us expect LeBron James to leave, even though he's shown a propensity for leaving. And if anyone were to leave, he looks like the guy who would leave. But I will say this, every other time he's moved, Bomani, he has moved with other people suggesting that he might move. He's already told you the circumstance under which he would move. If he could play with Chris Paul, if he could play with Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade, he's fulfilled. He's free. He's won one for himself. He's won one for his city. He could now win one with his friends. If not this year, soon. He's already told you that. He's given it to you in his own voice.
Now, he gave himself some outs if he did want to leave. He said he has no plans to leave at this time, but he also said, let's win another one, which seems to be pretty definitive. You would think that LeBron James would have to be there at the very least when they raise that banner. You would think that that would be necessary. But we also hear he sent his kids out to school in Los Angeles. I remember when he signed that deal with the Cavs, one thing you heard whispers about was he wanted the kids to grow up there. Why put him on a plane?
Ballmer, think about this one because it's interesting to think about. Go with your Chris Paul, your friend. You send Blake Griffin over to the Knicks for Carmelo Anthony, and you convince Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and Lala to be in New York. You'll be riding a banana boat to the games.
Well, maybe when he said let's win another one, maybe he was referring to the people in Miami.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Welcome back to the bosom, the hairy bosom right here. He still have you, but LeBron. Come on, let's go, come on.
Yeah, as much as people in Miami laugh at the folks in Cleveland for taking LeBron back, in a heartbeat, they do the same thing.
How tempted should Kevin Durant be by Phil Jackson's plan to pair him with Derrick Rose, Carmelo, and Porzingis?
All right, our man Frank Isola at the New York Daily News is saying that Derrick Rose has been told by Phil Jackson that his next move is to try to get Kevin Durant. Now, okay, it sounds crazy because Knicks, right? They've been waiting for the big free agent to come there literally my entire life. But if you put Kevin Durant on that team with the other pieces that we named there, aren't they like instantly at least the second best team in the East?
Phil Jackson is learning that it's a little bit difficult to beat Pat Riley, but the tempting thing is not the New York Knicks. The tempting thing is the East. Where can you go in the East, Kevin Durant, where you don't have to go through Golden State? You don't have to go through San Antonio. You don't have to have happen to you what just happened to Golden State, where the journey was so hard and so injurious, is that a word? Injurious? Yeah. That you end up at the end broken. The East is the place to do it. It's one way to get a superstar, load up with other superstars.
And I'm sure Kevin Durant will give that a whole lot of thought next year because all the money comes after he's a 10-year vet. He'll be in Oklahoma City next year unless he forgot how to count.
Well, I think that the Knicks might be able to get him. I was only kidding. Who the hell wants to play in New York? That's a team, and then you got Phil Jackson on top of that. Yeah. Who wants to play with Derrick Rose? You'll hear his knees, creaking all over the place. Click, 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 click.
Keep in mind, Greg Monroe turned the Knicks down last year to go live in Milwaukee.
Should Joe Lacob be quiet?
Joe Lacob owns the Golden State Warriors. You really don't care who Joe Lacob is because all he does is own the Golden State Warriors. But let Joe Lacob tell it. This man reinventing basketball every time he wakes up. Silicon Valley Business Journal has him speaking at Stanford to a group, and he said all kinds of things about innovation that were interesting. But then he also said that they're going to get off a small ball because you got to jump on the next thing because why would you keep doing what won you 73 games, right, Joe? Want to know something else crazy Joe Lacob said? Joe Lacob said the salary cap spiked to $94 million because of the Warriors, and apparently that room full of people believed him. How in the world is that possible? What Lacob seems to be doing here is talking to people who don't know sports and convincing them that he knows everything. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. This one-eyed man needs to be quiet, though.
Oh, but the question is, should he be quiet? For our purposes, no. Please, Joe Lacob, make a speech every day, everywhere. Keep feeding us about how you're light years ahead. Keep telling us about how Silicon Valley, you built that, you built basketball, you're an expert at blackjack. I want more arrogant, loud owners, not less.
Except the problem with this one is this arrogant, loud owner is acting like the biggest move the Warriors ever made wasn't drafting Stephen Curry. The last owner did that.
Does Joe know that they lost, or he's still on that?
When was this speech? Was this speech like when they were up 3-1? When was this speech?
But hold on, he's about to do something else innovative. He's going to try to sign Kevin Durant.
How should Michael Taylor's teammates feel about him today?
I'd never heard of this dude before now. However, struck out how many times in the game yesterday? Watch him.
1-2 pitch.
That's one.
Not one.
That's two.
Not two.
That's a pitcher with a single-digit jersey. That's four. Hold on. We're not done. 5 strikeouts swinging, and then this happens.
Oh,
That's the same dude who strode.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, you see the score at the bottom?
Oh, no.
Yeah, Puig got the Little League home run.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, at least you'll have a chance to redeem yourself later in the game. Oh, no.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. You might have a chance to redeem yourself in AAA. That is literally the worst baseball performance of all time.
The question is about teammates and how they should feel about him, though. Baseball is cruel. Baseball is mean. And I guarantee you these teammates are not mad at him. They want to console him because none of them want to be him.
It all depends on how much they like him in the first place. I don't have the answer to that yet.
Oh, man, you didn't give enough credit to Puig, you know? He hit that ball where he wanted
Yeah.
to. He knew that guy couldn't reach
Yes.
it, you know? I mean,
Yes.
he knew that he was going to miss it by a couple of inches, you know?
This
That's
close,
right.
This close to being a double play. This
At
close.
least give him some credit for hustling out the box, though, right? They normally give him hell if he doesn't.
Coming up next on my Son TV show, we talk to Chris Dunn.
You know, I was kind of scared, you know, so I went to the kitchen. I tried to get a hot sauce bottle. I tried to whack it over his head, you know, to protect myself, because when you see 2 big dudes, the only thing you're expecting is they're trying to rob the place. And, you know, my dad grabbed it, tossed it, and he basically told me that, you know, he was my father.
My Son's TV show is brought to you by the experts at your locally owned True Value. Joining us at the beach today on behalf of a spit stick is Chris Dunn.
All right, he's the point guard at Providence. He'll be drafted really early. Let's get to know him a little bit.
Chris, you've overcome some unusual things during your journey. At what age would you say you became a man?
Probably at the age of 15, you know, I think I started to figure out, you know, life. You know, life started to come a lot easier for me. I'm starting to see things better. I had to grow up a lot faster than other kids, you know. Me and my brother, we were in Virginia, you know, when I was 9 years old, he was 14. You know, we had no mother at that point in time. She was going in and out of jail. My dad wasn't around. I didn't know who he was. So, you know, we had to grow up faster than other kids. So that's the reason why I say that.
Well, you had a really unusual time, right? You were 9 years old and you were living without parental supervision. For how long was it?
2.5 months. And it wasn't easy, you know. It was kind of devastating that we had to go through that, you know, at an early age. But, you know, what's so great about it is, you know, me and my brother, we kept fighting. We did everything in our power to survive, you know, by getting money and getting food in certain ways, you know, that we didn't want to have to do, but we knew we had to do in order to survive. And, you know, that's what makes us resilient. That's why I feel like I can overcome any adversity that's thrown at me.
But Chris, explain to me what you remember about that time. Like, how did you come to be by yourself for 2.5 months? You weren't informing people that you were by yourselves?
No, we didn't want, you know, people, you know, who separate, you know, families. We didn't want them to come around, you know, the foster care and all that, because, you know, it would have been devastating for me and my brother. You know, me and my brother love each other, one another so much that we try to, you know, keep a low profile, you know. We didn't want people to find out our business, because then, you know, the foster homes would come in and try to take us away. But at the same time, you know, we had to go out there and, you know, try to get money and food in order to survive. So, you know, we kind of, you know, went to the park and stuff, you know, gambled. I used to gamble a lot. I used to play 7-Eleven, blackjack, poker, Remy, and all that for money. I used to play kids, you know, one-on-one and basketball at an early age. We were like 15, 16 for $20. And my brother used to sell clothes, so we did those things, but other than that, we kept a low profile.
You were gambling without money, though, right? If you'd lose, what would you would just run, correct?
Yeah, I would run. You know, sometimes, you know, they caught me. You know, I had to fight sometimes, but most of the time I'd get away. I was pretty fast at an early age, and, you know, I had to work on my 40, so it was cool.
So there was no teacher or anybody who figured out that, hey, man, these 2 kids out here on their own?
Nah, the type of school I was going to at an early age, you know, didn't really care about the kids. You know, they were just doing their job, you know. Whoever comes to class, they'll teach. You know, there wasn't too many kids that would go to class anyway, so it there wasn't too many people looking for us, you know, in that department.
Your father, the way that you met him, right, was at the end of this experience where you're meeting him for the first time because he's showing up to come get you. You don't know who he is and you think someone is breaking into your house?
Yeah, exactly. You know, the first time I seen him, he came, it was him and his best friend. You know, they both look like bodybuilders. You know, at an early age at 9, you know, 9 or 10, you know, I was kind of scared, you know, so I went to the kitchen. I tried to get a hot sauce bottle. I tried to whack it over his head, you know, to protect myself, because when you see two big dudes, the only thing you're expecting is they're trying to rob the place. And, you know, my dad grabbed it, tossed it, and he basically told me that, you know, he was my father. And, you know, I started to break down crying because it was an emotional time for me. And I kind of knew right away that I know that was my father because, you know, me and my father looked just alike. So, and then my brother came out into the living room and, you know, he kind of confirmed it to me like, yeah, that's your dad. And, you know, we all just started crying.
Well, how long did it take you to get comfortable with letting him be your father?
You know, it took a while, and I think he knew that it was going to take a long time because, you know, I haven't seen him in a while. You know, I'd never seen him before. So if I had to put a number on it, probably, you know, 2 to 3 years. You know, at one point in time, I was calling him by his first name because it was, you know, I'm not used to calling somebody dad. And, you know, what really broke the ice between me and my father was sports. You know, he's in love with sports, I'm in love with sports. And he knew that I liked sports so much, so he did everything in his power to try to, you know, whatever sport that I like, try to make me the best player that I can be. And, you know, that kind of broke the ice and that built the relationship.
Can you explain to us how rebellious you were about discipline with your father, how difficult it was for him to sort of rein you guys in because you were, you know, guys who were used to being on your own?
Right, yeah. You know, we were kind of fighting it, you know, because we're not used to, you know, having a home, you know, a structured home that's disciplined, you know, a support system that, you know, is always going to be around. You know, we used to, you know, my mother going in and out of jail and whatnot. So, you know, we, from Virginia to Connecticut, you know, we carry those bad habits. You know, my brother was still selling clothes. I was still gambling, you know, pickpocketing people, you know, doing everything we had to do to survive. But I came home with probably like $200, you know, stealing money from kids. And, you know, my dad, he was kind of smart, you know. He understood that, you know, a kid like me can't just come up on $200, and he knew I stole it. And, you know, my dad, he didn't, you know, yell at me or anything. He just knew, you know, I'm used to, you know, being in a situation where I had to, you know, defend for myself and get everything on my own. So, you know, really, he sat down and talked to me. And when he talked to me for about 4 hours, not kid you. And, you know, he just talked to me that, you know, everything's going to be okay. You don't have to keep doing those things. Like, if you need money, all you got to do is ask me. You know, I'm your father. I can take care of you. You know, just worry about being a kid, having fun, and, you know, and try to build a future for yourself. And, you know, that's what I need to hear, you know. I need to hear that someone has my back and someone that loves me.
Is it true that your first Christmas, I don't know what age this was, you didn't realize that the gifts were you, that there was any such thing as gifts for you?
What happened was, at the age of 9, I knew there wasn't a Santa Claus in Virginia. You know, I was with my mother and my brother, and, you know, usually you have the gifts wrapped. And, you know, my mother, she just came out and just, you know, gave us the toys and basically told us there was no Santa Claus. She didn't have to tell me, but I let it be known. And, you know, I was pretty smart enough, you know, going around town, walking around, I see multiple Santa Clauses. So I was kind of smart enough, you know, there's no way you're just there and you're there over there. So it all, you know, and I didn't cry or anything, you know. I was really, you know, kind of more mature than other kids, you know, and I'm going around, of course, I'm going around telling other kids, trying to break their Christmas, telling them, yo, there's no Santa Claus. And now I'm bringing kids home crying. So it was kind of bad.
Chris, Poppy has something for you. What do you got, Poppy?
Yes, Chris, what is the best joke you have ever played on your brother?
The best joke I ever played on my brother is probably, my brother, he was really into shoes. And one day, you know, I was playing with my toys, and he, like, for some reason, kicked my toys over. You know, I built, like, a house, and he knocked it over. And I got mad, so I put water, sand, and lotion in his shoes. Oh. I know it sounds crazy. And he stepped into it, and he knew it was me right away. So he came running after me, and I hit him with a plastic golf stick right aside his head. And after that, he just started whooping my butt.
Yeah, man, I don't. Where's the joke here? Because that don't sound funny to me at all, man.
That sounds like a little brother being a jerk. That doesn't sound like it. Good talking to you, Chris. Thanks for being on with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Gracias, Chris. Gracias.
Yeah.
talk. That's TikTok. I'm about to this cash up on a new toy. About to this cash up on a new toy. You can't understand us because you are too soft. Cash from the Clearlander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that is busting with anticipation. Do you question?
You give us topics and events, and we question them.
Do you question if Meta has it right?
Are we talking about meta world peace?
Which meta? Are there other metas?
All right, guys. So this is how you run the triangle
raw.
offense. You have a ball. You got your go-to player. You got your other go-to players, so like Kobe and Shaq, right? Apples, oranges. Then you got 3 other random dudes. And that's basically how you run it. Okay, get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way.
This is how you run the triangle. Yes.
Figure it out.
Yes, that's it.
And that's how
Yes.
you run a triangle.
I mean, the Knicks couldn't figure that out. That got Derek Fisher fired. The Knicks just got a new coach who can't teach that.
Yeah, but take it all the way, though, Ron, because there was no Shaq on the team when you were there. Go ahead and take that apple off and
Yeah.
be like, here's the offense.
Yes.
Pass the ball to Kobe.
Yes. Give it to the orange.
So the fruits are the stars and the pastries are the other guys. They're no good. He got it all wrong. You know,
That's
the
right.
pastries are
Yeah,
the
the-
stars and
yeah,
the fruits are their
that's
ones
right.
are no good, you know?
That's right. Get him out of here.
That's right. What kind of analysis is that? He got it all wrong. Do you question if this app had it coming?
Okay, we go out to softball. You know why we go out to softball? Because basketball's over, and we already miss it. We just showed you Ron Artest fiddling around with some fruit, and now we go out to a softball argument of some sort.
3-ball count.
3-ball count and what? Come on,
You can't do that. Wrong.
There's going to be an argument here somewhere.
You have proved your point.
And then
Enough
you come out to the
already.
mound. It's got the move where you come out to the mound so that the ump comes and visits you, and then you yell at the ump.
Oh, no. I know what's about to happen.
Oh! That guy went to the mound and told the catcher to get out of the way and just hit the ump.
Yo, are these like
Yeah.
are these school children?
Right in the face.
No, you can't do that. That's not funny.
It is funny.
No,
What do
it's
you mean?
not.
I mean, it's wrong, but it's funny.
Hey, man, all I'm saying is I saw those kids playing football who hit the ref that one time, and people were talking about sending them dudes to jail. Who going to jail here?
Okay, he's right. I'm being inconsistent about my funny, but it's funny.
Oh, man, he got to go fight the coach. You got no other choice but to go fight
he was
the coach.
going to do that, it looked like.
With your mask
with
on,
the mask
by the way.
on, with
Why
the
not?
mask.
They totally blew that one. They hit him on the head. It could have been much worse than that.
Yes, if it had been the same place as the strike
Roll
that was
the tape.
called the ball, yeah, we could have gotten some of this. Yeah, happy music. Yeah.
I hope that ump called a strike.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the most important point.
That
That
looked
ump
like
better
a
have hit him with a strike.
I'll show you something to strike. Watch this. Yeah. There it is. Oh, right on your face. Get carried off on a cart. Yes. Yes. Well, Monty, look, this is the time to look up. Just look up real quick, real quick.
No.
Just look up real quick, real
No.
quick.
No.
Time to play the game that enjoys being teased. See? Or no?
Tell us what to watch on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued.
On ESPN, the NBA Draft.
Sure, this will be fun, but there's a funny Foot Locker ad here involving some of the rookies. Ben Simmons is looking for some advice. D'Angelo Russell is in the commercial. Watch this.
Yo, Carl, nice gear. Foot Locker?
No doubt.
So any advice now that I've been drafted?
Getting drafted doesn't mean a thing. Now the real work starts. This isn't college. This is a grown man's league. Tell him, Devin.
That's right. Nothing comes easy anymore.
Anything else I should know, D'Angelo?
Got a phone?
Trust me.
That's one way to do it. That's the one way to neuter the people making fun of you. Make fun of yourself. Bomani, are you intrigued?
I am intrigued by the draft, though we all have to admit, stylists have ruined the NBA draft. It was so much better when they picked out their own suits. That's right. Put Jalen Rose up there with that fire engine red suit. Boom.
Yes,
Right
nice.
there.
Nice.
With the nerve to have pinstripes.
Jalen.
Detroit,
Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Hey, Ben, don't listen to these guys, you know. I mean, this is a new world for you because when you're on the road, you're going to need Tinder, you know. That's what you need, you know, buddy. That's the name of the game nowadays, you know. Tinder, don't forget that word.
Keep that phone.
Whoa,
Keep the phone.
What do you know
Right, well,
about?
let's move it on. Let's move along.
On Fox, Home Free.
Well, what is this about? What is Home Free about? Let's see. Let's see a clip.
Home Free returns with Mike Holmes for an all-new season.
You're in for some fun.
With brand new host, NFL quarterback Tim Tebow.
Don't let him get in your head.
The contestants will have to do more than build a house. Tim and Mike will have them build an entire neighborhood.
I mean, that seems gratuitous. That's only on your television because Tim Tebow's on your television. Come on, man. Skip Bayless left already. Poppy, Bomani, are you intrigued?
Do you realize how much money Tim Tebow has made for being visible for about half a football season where he stunk, and he will eat off of it forever? But he works here now, doesn't he?
Does he still work here? Oops. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. You know, I love everything about Tim Tebow. I haven't seen him in a while. You know, I mean, he's going to be building houses, but there is something wrong with what they say. They say he's still an NFL quarterback, and I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah. They didn't say. Well, he's not still an NFL quarterback. I think the question is, was he ever?
He's as much an NFL quarterback today as Rod Jaworski.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
ESPN Radio, 4 to 7 Eastern, the right time with Bomani Jones. Check it out. Thanks for watching.
Gracias. See you mañana.
Well, I guess I didn't get my finals pick right, but there's always a next year, next time, you know.
Yeah, Warriors and 4 didn't quite work out.
They sure did go 6.
Was a close one,
Wait
though.
a minute. You said...
And the score